Hi everyone. So I thought I would play a game against Atari video chess from 1979. So let me go ahead and bring it up. So basically, for those of you who may not know, um, it's an urban legend. I don't think it actually was ever true, but the original 2600 supposedly had a box that had what looked like a chess knight, and a lot of people claim that somebody sued saying that here you are, you're releasing a 2600, although it was Atari Video Computer System. It wasn't. It was called the VCS. The 2600 name came later. And that basically you didn't have the right to put a knight figure on the cover of the box that it came with because you didn't actually have a chess game. Now, a lot of people think that that's actually an urban legend that that nobody actually sued for that, but apparently Atari, I guess, kind of thought about it, I guess, for a while, and then in 1979 actually releases an actual chess playing program. So this is a website I found where you can actually play against the Atari Video Chess without having to go through an emulator. And you see, like, it has like a little bit of a history of how the program works, and you see like there's different settings like how much time the computer has to think. Now, one of the things I always found interesting is that you notice it goes up until it gets down to level 8. So level 8 is actually the easiest level. I don't know why they did that. Why wouldn't you not set level 1 as the easiest level and then maybe level 8 is the hardest? But for whatever reason, it was done that way where it's the game defaults to level 1, but the actual easiest setting for people maybe who you know are beginners or whatever would have to play level 8, which is actually kind of counterintuitive. So it tells you a little bit about its history. There was an Atari and a Sears version that it was created by Bob Whitehead and Larry Wagner. They actually did have a chess. I don't know what we call it. He was a GM and he helped them with the program and helped them like understand like uh, basic strategies and things of like nature. So the thing is that this is a 4K cartridge, and you may have heard very recently that one of our modern programs called Chess GPT, um, they pitted it against the Atari 2600 chess at level 1, and embarrassing though it was, the Atari 2600 chess beat it. So now, granted, Chat GPT is a chat program. It's not really intended for chess, and in fact, actually, when it plays, it kind of doesn't understand the rules. Like it'll make pieces illegal moves, and you have to tell it, "Hey, what are you doing? Stop doing that. That's cheating." You have to tell it you can't make that move. Blah blah blah. So obviously, it's not really intended to play chess. But it was kind of interesting that someone decided out of fun to test it against the Atari 2600 chess, and it lost. Um, so now this game, you could play it here. I'm going to turn the in-game sound on, and I'm going to do is I'm going to click this button over here and make it full screen. So you just see the actual game. So now you can move it with the cursor keys and use the space bar to select. So I'm going to start off with E4. Very basic, one of the more common moves. Now, my next move is called knight c3, and this particular opening is called the Vienna opening, and it's also an opening I'm familiar with because a lot of people like to hit me with the Sicilian, and this is the closed Sicilian variation. But in this case, because they haven't played a Sicilian, it's called the Vienna. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fianchetto my bishop. What I'm doing is I'm going to put the bishop on a diagonal where what it does is it reinforces that square because I know what the next move he's going to play the knight out, his other knight. Yeah, I anticipated that. And you see he's attacking that pawn right there. So right now my pawn's attacked by one piece and covered by one piece. So putting the bishop on the diagonal means that square gets reinforced. So now I'll have two pieces covering it versus his one attacker. That makes it difficult for him to actually capture it because the more defenders there are against a piece like a square, the harder it is to capture because you have to put more and more pressure. Now, most people like to play knight to f3, which is here, but that would actually be bad because then the bishop loses the influence. So instead, I move this knight in front of my king because it's still making room to castle, but this way the bishop doesn't lose the influence on that square, on the e4 square. All right, so he's developing as well. I'm going to go ahead and castle my king, because what it does is it puts the king out in the middle of the board. We can be attacked on either side, and brings it makes it a little safer. It makes it safe a little bit. So you see, he's trying to do the same thing essentially. He wants to try to castle and put his king into a safe square. This move is a dual purpose move. It reinforces the center, like that center pawn. It's now covered multiple ways, and also makes room for my bishop, the dark squared bishop. He castled. Now what I want to do is I want to start limiting his options, because this knight can jump out to here right now. I'm going to push this pawn here. One, to prevent that, and two, gain a little space on the queen side. So you notice, I don't know if some of you saw that, it flashes when it's its turn. It was one of the limitations for the program. What they wanted to do was have it essentially clear the screen and then focus on its move. And what it do is it would do that little blinking pattern that you just saw, which I'm sure for some people creates a problem. So I'm hoping none of you are impacted that. Now, I could capture his knight, and then he recaptures with his pawn, and he moves, force my knights to move away. I don't really care for that. So I'm not going to make his life easy. Instead, I'm moving my rook over, and I'm keeping my knight. Oops, I moved it one too more. And I'm going to push that pawn. And yes, he could bring that bishop over to harass my rook. But if he does that, he gets captured with the knight. Now, that's a very strange move. I'm not sure what he's trying to accomplish with that. He's tacking. He's tacking a pawn that's covered by both that one and that one. Sorry, folks. I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to do with that. Gonna go here? No, because it just gets captured. I think that's a wasted move. I think it's a waste of a move. Go here? No. Go there? No. No. All right. So therefore, I'm not gonna deal with it too much, because it's not really doing too much. I mean, it has the potential to do things, but I don't want to move any more of my pawns in front of my king anymore. Because the more pawns move in front of my king, the weaker the king becomes. See, and now he just goes back. So that was like a waste of a move. So now, let me see. I want my bishop to have options. So I'm going to move this pawn here. And if he's not careful, that bishop is going to get trapped. Let me see, it goes there. All right. This bishop is getting trapped. It's got nowhere to go. So I know what it wants me to do. He wants me to capture with my knight so that he can harass my rook. I'm not going to be so accommodating. Instead, I'm recapturing with my queen. And now that bishop can't really go to the diagonal to harass my rook because the knight covers that square. Okay. I'm just going to... He was trying to make a escape square. Too late. Okay, now he does gain one advantage, and that is that now his rook, which was blockaded by the pawn, now has some room to move. But by the same token, he's got a doubled pawn where he's also down a piece. So right now exchanges are good for me. So I'm wondering, let me see, go to knight here. Do I do the bishop on the long diagonal? Or not? Okay, the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to move my bishop here because you think it has a greater influence, but then the knight comes here and harasses it. Although, granted, my queen would capture it. Um, so instead, I'm going to be a little conservative and move my bishop here. It doesn't do an awful lot, but it covers the knight, and my rooks are now covering. The rooks protect each other. See, now he wants to try to bust through. He wants to trade off the pawns, which I don't have an issue with. Um, I'm just trying to see if what you know. See, I can't move my knight there. It can move my knight there, but then it doesn't. It's not doing much. Mm. See, there are times in chess when you should be capturing first, and there are times you want your opponent to capture first. In this case, I want him to capture first because if he captures that pawn, then I capture with my own pawn. And okay, he gets another space for his rook, whatever. Um, Let me see. Should I push it to center? No. Can't go there. Hmm. Do I move my bishop? Sorry, my pawn to limit his knight? But then, let me see. Let's see. If I move my bishop here, what I'm thinking about, folks, is I'm up the exchange right now. So I'm thinking if my bishop comes here, I'm attacking the knight, and exchanges would be good for me at this point. The only thing that worries me is that the bishop is not protected by anything, um, and therefore it's subject to um, potential tactics. I don't think there are any tactics here, and I think, like I said, I think exchanges right now with me being up, bishop for pawn, or it's just if he moves the knight, I take knight. Bishop captures bishop. All right. Now this is definitely in my favor. See, one of the things you do in chess when you're up, you're ahead, you exchange pieces because it does two things. One, it keeps your lead, but two, because there's less pieces on the board, there's less chance of a slip up. Let me see. I'm gonna capture with my rook. He'll capture my bishop, I'm assuming. At least I hope he does. So now, let me see. I move the knight here. Then I can move it over there. Um, I can move my bishop there. Okay, so I'm winning, and what I want to do is what's called simplification, which is to take your advantage and just make it bigger. And I'm thinking the knight needs to do a little more. But the only question is, what can I do? Because I'm thinking. I don't know if you could see this on my mouse. I'm thinking. Well, maybe you could see if I move this thing. I'm thinking my knight could go here, which then it could jump into here. But if it jumps into here and then the pawn pushes it and then goes to here, it starts to run out of spaces where it could go. And that's what worries me. Um, Let me see. And okay, this wants to take and take. Um, okay, this is probably a simplified, but I'm thinking bring my queen over here, then my bishop over here, and attack this pawn with jack, and trade off the queens, and therefore limiting what he can do. You see, he goes, yeah. I think I'm okay with this plan, even though it's a very simple plan. Hey, it works. If he moves the rook over, we're trading rooks. Okay, yeah, like I said, he's making my life very easy. Just exchange pieces. I'm ahead. Avoid some of these headaches. Okay. And I have the bishop covering the queen. So I'm going up against that pawn. Although he might move his king over to cover. Yeah, he did. Not knight has options though. Now I can go there. He pushes. I go there. He pushes the guy out of the way. He gets a knight there. Let me see. I could give him. I could give him a check. Can't really block it. Okay. Wait. Give him a check. I give him a check. He's gonna move over there. Okay. He's gonna come over here to cover that pawn. Yeah, he's got to cover the pawn. I need. I need more force. I'm up a piece, but I just. Let me see. If I go here, that would disable his king from coming over. Let me see. If I move the knight. Let me see. What if I pawn capture? Wait, pawn captures pawn. Pawn captures pawn. Mm. The only question is, where am I moving? Wait, if I move the knight here. Can I do it? Can I do it the long way? Takes. Come here. I really could use another piece. That's my problem. I'm trying. That pawn was not there. If the pawn was not there, we would have all kind of tactical shots. Wait a minute. Hold on. If I move the queen over, I I think I have a tactical shot. I think so. Okay, here's what I'm considering. The queen moves here. He might try to like cover it, but then I bring my knight over here. He has to he has to worry about the queen being taken. He takes my knight, but then I take his knight. Okay, I yeah, I think this is a tactical. This is a nice tactical shot here. Uh huh. Now the knight comes here. He has to worry about the knight. He has to worry about the knight, so he'll take the knight, but I'll take his knight. Essentially, we're trading knights. Uh huh. And his queen is pinned. At best, yeah. My bishop is going to be the lone survivor here, and then I'm just going to clean up. No, first things first. First, your queen goes bye bye. Now, this is a cleanup job. Okay, now the less pieces that are on the board, the better. Alright, so let's start eliminating some of these. Okay, and then I think, let me see, I think I need to move my king in now. Sorry folks, sorry about that. Alright, he wants to harass the bishop. Sorry, that ain't happening. That's gonna make it difficult for his king to get in. Now my bishop is gonna come over here. I'm making it very difficult for him to get in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very difficult because his options are limited. His pawns are basic. Okay. Now let's see. Can I get my king? Yeah, I think I can get my king to come in on this side. Wipe out his pawns. Maybe. Not sure. Okay. Yeah, my king's going to end up penetrating. Oops. Let me see. Yeah, this is a foregone conclusion, folks. Yeah, it's just manja, manja, manja right now. This is a completely one endgame. There's no way for him to stop me. My king is exerting too much control over the center, so it's like it's just cleanup time. Like he might be able to push his pawn, maybe. That's about all you could do is try to save it for like one move, yeah. But then, but then it runs out of room. because it's going to get captured, and if it tries to push, it's going to get captured. So yeah, this is a foregone conclusion. He might try to guard this one. Yeah, okay, well, not even. He could have guarded at least one of them. He could have. But now it's like, whoa. This is just now you see, now he wants to go after that pawn. Yeah, sorry, that ain't happening. Okay, let me see. Yeah. I got too many passers, way too many. Yeah, he can't do anything. He's basically he's immobilized. And he wants to go after this pawn. Well, good luck with that. Now it's covered. All my pieces are covered. There's very little he could do. Let me see. So now this pawn is free to go forward. Oh, well, now this is a race he can't catch up. Yeah, he's running for the hills. I'm going to be... I could just be cruel and get like multiple queens. That's a queen. Let's see, wait. I'm going to make room for this one to become a queen. So you can see it's, he's really doesn't have any options anymore. I'm just going to get, like, I could just be cruel and get 3 queens, but I'm only going to need 2. I could do it with 1, but like I could actually let him capture the bishop and the pawn and still win. But nope, I'm not going to be generous. I'm just going to go, nope, nope. So now the pawn becomes quickest way to mate. So let's start with some checks. All right, he's got to run. Let's see. We'll go here. That's a check. All right. Start to squeeze more and more space. So he starts running out of space. He's got to go back. Let's wait. Give him another check. Let me see. Another check. And now 8 and 1. Could be either queen actually. So that was Atari Video Chess setting 1. As I said, it's it's available online. You don't have to have an emulator or anything. And you saw it. It's got the different settings. Setting one is the default setting. Setting 8, if you're having trouble with default, you go to setting 8, which is the 10-second one. And um, I'm a chess fan. I play chess every day. I would say I'm a strong amateur. I'm not like a pro or anything, but video chat, like when I first started, I couldn't beat video. I don't think I beat it very often. I didn't play like today. Players have so many tools for chess. You have chess databases. You have opening videos that shows you how to play certain openings. So I wish I would have had this advantage when I was, back in high school or younger. Um, but okay, but because back then we only had books. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and please share and